10:09. I'm actually ahead of schedule. Hell froze over. I don't know. 20th day of April at Womack in studio as we're talking about the recent consolidated election. How are you feeling, Mr. Womack, after just a great showing of support on your side and being the leading vote getter in that race?
Yeah, very, very happy, relieved at the same time. Yeah. I'm glad it's over, but it was fun. It was really fun. I think meeting so many people, having people approach me, first of all, wishing me luck, and second of all, saying that, hey, I'm voting for you. And then finally, coming out with the most votes. So I'm happy.
Well, from an outsider's perspective, just looking in, the moment that I saw, I think it was Kimbrough that put up there on his Facebook that you were running. I mean, so many people that just jumped the gun, and said, yes, let's do this. I called you. Let's talk about this right off the bat. I mean, that's got to feel really good knowing that the work that you've done for decades has paid off and then some.
It has. And again, I appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Just I think from the time I made the announcement that I would run, that people just kind of jumped on board and were supportive. And it was just about really having a seat at the table. Yeah. Being able to sit at the table with others and make decisions that are going to affect our kids and the future of our kids' education.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, have you been sworn in yet? When is swearing in for the board?
May 16th.
May 16th.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I would encourage people to come down and just be supportive. Part of me joining this board is I'm going to be encouraging people to come to board meetings.
Yes.
Become informed with what's going on in our schools.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you too, because you were out on the campaign trail and you really were. You were talking to anyone you could and getting their insights. What were some of their thoughts? And now the follow-up to that question would be, on some of those conversations you had, was a lot of it just not maybe their attentiveness to maybe going to some meetings and hearing about some of the things going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure that like our community is like really engaged enough.
Yeah.
In what happens in our schools, and it's important. Some of the decisions that are made, I mean, they affect your property. They affect us more than we really know.
Right.
The bottom line, though, is the kids.
Yep.
So decisions are being made that affect our kids, and that's important. So I think we have to get more involved, and I think it can become mundane, where people, I've been at board meetings, and you look around, and nobody's in the audience except for administrators.
Right.
So how do we know what's going on? We just need to do a better job becoming informed.
Well, and that's what I think, too, because everyone's heard me get on my pedestal and preach local elections are more important than your national ones because, we actually have a direct say of what is going to happen for the, the next 4, 2, whatever, how many years of the community.
Right.
And, here we are at this point now. While you're campaigning, whenever you were, getting closer and closer to April 4th, now we're at this point where you're going to get sworn in. What's step one for you?
Again, just really being able to, like I said, the whole goal from day one has been to sit at the table, get a better understanding of how things work.
Yep.
Get a better understanding of the decisions that needs to be made, and making conscious decisions with the group. Again, I'm one of 7 people.
Right.
So I can't. I understand coming in. It's not like what Al says. Right. I would love to bring some ideas. I'm looking forward to bring some ideas that may not have been thought of. Hey, maybe we look at things from a different lens.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to do that. But really, I want to make sure we are supporting our district. We're supporting kids, and we're trying to retain teachers. We have to retain teachers, and that revolves around being able to pay them. I think we're one of the lowest paying districts around.
That's what I was going to, because I heard that number getting tossed out quite a bit, and I've seen some comments on it just through social media and passing, and I think that's a great way to look at things and a great way to start, because you're right. I think, it's not just, a school board position, but even a city council person. Yeah. Sometimes, their voters or their, supporters think, well, the moment they're in office, well, everything they say can happen.
No, you have to be realistic. That's not the case.
Right.
I understood that coming in. So
right.
They say understood the assignment. I need to get to the table and then help with the ideas. Challenge some thoughts and ideas.
Well, and something that you talked about when we first talked about your announcement was, there is a need for some younger voices, some new ideas, some new perspectives. And now, with that being said, have any of the current school board members that didn't run in this race, that weren't up for election, have they reached out? Have they started trying to collaborate with you on some stuff?
I'll be honest. I heard from 2 school board members. And Barry Macias is a great guy.
Absolutely wonderful man.
So, he didn't have to run, but Barry was, he communicated with me. And then the night of the election, I appreciate I got a text from David Lowski.
Wow.
So I get a chance to work with those two guys. Looking forward to it. The others that didn't, okay. It's still, it is what it is.
Right.
So we have one goal, and that's to work and work towards like improving our school district. So it's not even about being liked, but we're going to sit at the table together. We're going to work some things out.
Well, and I think that's needed too, because right now, if you look, and you know this just better than anyone, you look on social media and you see some council meetings that get thrown up there on that, Facebook rabbit hole is what I call it, where people are just screaming, and there's not any collaboration, and it's okay to think differently,
right?
You still have to sit at that table and have the conversation.
Yep. You got to be able to bring something to the table, and I do. I don't want to miss out this opportunity. I want to thank David Fritz. He didn't get reelected, but I want to thank him for the 8 years that he served on the board.
Absolutely.
So, he served well. He was the president. So, I want to thank him for his service.
Well, and that's the thing too, because I think so many times too, Al, people think that there's a hatred among people that are running, and there's not. It's a respect that's there, and it might be some of the supporters that get a little rambunctious and all that, but there's a respect and a camaraderie between.
There is. There was no mudslinging.
No.
Which I could appreciate.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to say Lowski was like the friendliest.
Yep.
Because it didn't. It shouldn't have come across as I'm running against you or I'm coming to take your seat.
Right.
I'm not running against any one individual. I'm just running for a seat at the table. But Lowski was fun during the campaign. I like his spirit. And again, Barry stayed in communications with me. Those were probably the only two that really I had some good vibes with throughout the course of the campaign. And I had to also. Beverly Veloff didn't make it, but man, I'm encouraging her to run again, and stay connected and stay tuned. And she's at board meetings, so we'll see Beverly Veloff on the board soon.
Well, and too, Al, I think what you're saying is such a great point to highlight. Is I think it's great to have different perspectives on a board, because if you have everyone thinking the same way, then we aren't really going to achieve an innovative, educational system. And for the district, we aren't. We're just going to stay where we were, or maybe stay in one silo, but. Like you're saying, it's okay to have a different perspective.
It is.
Just sit down and talk.
Exactly. Talk about it and bring different ideas to the table. So I may not agree with everyone,
right?
But at the very least, I need to respect what they're saying and listen to them. We need to listen. So again, I'm looking forward to it. I do encourage. I'll have to run again in 4 years. I'd love to see people running against me and whoever's up. There's another election in 2 years. So we need more people running. We need younger people. We need a different generation sitting at the table as well. That's no disrespect to my generation and those that come before me, but we need some more voices at the table.
Well, and it goes on my generation big time, Al, because I've sat here on a soapbox and kind of with Ray Hartman over across the river going, we got to get these young folks out here because we have no interest in my generation to vote or be a part of that civil process. And whatever you thought, your thoughts on the voter turnout, was that what you were expecting?
No, it was scary.
Yeah.
My concern coming in was if people doesn't show up to vote, then my chances of getting on are going to be very slim. And again, I'm still running into people who didn't vote or don't see the importance of voting in local elections. And we have to change that.
We do.
It's going to take some time, but I think historically, that's what it's been.
Right. You're right.
It's disappointing.
Yep.
But we have to educate more people. I did come across more people who said they didn't even know there was an election. So my campaign, at the very least, brought some awareness that there was an election coming up.
And that's a start.
We need to do more, though.
Well, I hate to tell you guys this. You'll hear me on this show bitching and moaning until you're out there voting in all these local, because it really is. And I joke about things, but this is something I'm really passionate about because, like you said, this is really important. We can actually achieve so much with that. And I wanted to ask you, talking about achieving, you were recognized by the Boys and Girls Club. I saw a great picture with you and so many great folks, including Eddie Scholler and Brian Campbell in those shots. So where were you at? And take us through this.
We were in Bloomington early this week on Monday. So we have a Illinois Alliance of Boys and Girls Club, and they did this is the second year, actually the third year for Hall of Fame inductees.
Wow!
So I was fortunate enough to get nominated, and then even more fortunate enough to be selected as a Hall of Famer for Boys and Girls Clubs.
That's great,
State of Illinois.
Yeah.
Again, it felt great. I was happy to have some people to come up and celebrate with. So Kim and Mike Carroll, Deborah Pitts, Eddie Scholler, Cass Shepard, Brian Campbell, and John Barnard. So we had a full table. We had a great time.
And take us through, I was going to ask you, what led up to that, induction? How was that kind of chosen? Who picks that? And
It's definitely, and I'm not even sure who the selection committee was. I do believe it was the former winners or people that were already Hall of Famers. I'm not sure how many candidates they had to select from, but there was 4 of us that went into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
It was great. Appreciate it. Really appreciate being selected. It just encourages me even more to get back in Alton and do more work. So
now I got to ask you, when you started this track at Boys and Girls Club this tenure, did you ever think, was this even a thought?
No. It was, it was me trying to learn something different.
Yeah.
The not-for-profit sector. But again, the one focus that never changed is the kids.
Yep.
And so that's what's kept me. That's what's kept our organization thriving. And that's what's encouraged me to even do more.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind me asking, who are some of the big supporters of the Boys and Girls Club locally that are helping you achieve this mission each and every day?
So I'm scared to say names because
don't let me put you on the spot.
Because I can forget it.
Yeah.
I can forget a name. I'm a little bit older now too, right? So what we try to do is we try to recognize those people on social media
all the time.
So like there's so many people. I think I'll go this broad and say if they've attended an event, a Boys and Girls Club event, they're a supporter. If they've written a check, if they've shown up for anything, those are supporters. So I think a lot of people can kind of pat themselves on the back and say, like, I support the club from, the local businesses to the individuals, to the donors, to the volunteers, to the families. These are club supporters. Our community supports his Boys and Girls Club.
That's a great answer. That's a good. I'm ready for Family Feud.
That was safe. That was real safe.
I was gonna say it. I'm like, man, I don't know. You haven't even gotten sworn in yet, but that was a perfect.
Text, right? And I'm not a politician.
No,
at all.
no.
Never.
And that's what I thought was great. It's like, man, you aren't one, but that was a great safety net. Well, and too, you're right, because every day there's so many different people contributing from every background, every demographic, and that's what's great about the Boys and Girls Club.
Yep.
It's not a one size fits all, or one group thing.
Right.
It's for all of us.
We always say people that share their time, talent, and treasures. So any one of those areas, those are our supporters.
That's really cool. And I want to ask you, too, about the Boys and Girls Club annual baseball party over at Cats, too. How was the turnout on that? Did you have some good numbers?
They had a great turnout. Cat and Judy, they do a great job every year without question.
Yep.
It's a given. And I hate to take it for granted, and I don't take it for granted, so I appreciate them. But every year, opening day, when the Cardinals are playing their first away game, they host a baseball party. I think it's the best baseball party around. I don't know if anybody else throwing a baseball party, but that's the best party. People come out, they support. Everybody's in great spirits, and they're giving money to the organization. And even better than that, Cat is matching the donations that come in. So I don't know what the numbers are yet. Maybe they're still counting money. So I can't wait to hear from them.
Well, I had the time of my life because I wasn't going to go out on Friday. And then Dan Herkert goes, hey, are you going with me to this baseball party? I said, oh, yeah, Boys and Girls Club, I'll be there. I am so glad I did because so many people, they're just for one mission, really, and to enjoy the company at Cats was really cool to see. And is there anything coming down the pipeline to keep our eyes out for, Boys and Girls Club?
Yes, we have our golf tournament. Great Futures Golf Classic is Friday, August 11th.
Okay.
At Spencer T. Olin. So we'll be looking for sponsorships. We'll be looking for people to golf. We have a lofty goal. The goal is to raise $50,000. That's not normal for golf tournaments, but we can do it.
We can
do it.
I think we need a Daily Show whole sponsor out there.
There you go. That sounds like it. Yeah.
I think so. I think I might have just,
There you go.
Thrown us into the ring.
Contact you.
Yeah, please do. And now I got to ask you, because you're a big UFIT guy, did you see the boot camp starting back up at West?
I did. I just saw that this morning. I just left UFIT before I got here, so I had to run home and shower and get here. So
no kidding. And that's what I think's great. No matter where you go, people are talking to you, and you're a part of so many different things. And is that something you're going to look to keep doing and just keep expanding?
As long as I'm able, like right now, I'm blessed. I have all my faculties, and I'm able to do some things, and I'm in my right mind. So the school board is new, but I also serve as a commissioner on Alton Housing Authority. I do some stuff with OSF St. Anthony's on their community advisory board. And then recently, I'm on the community advisory panel for Phillips 66.
Wow.
So we had a meeting last night.
With the scholarship stuff that they're doing with Boys and Girls Club, that's huge.
We have some scholarships to be announced real soon. So that's going to be exciting.
Really cool. Al Womack, man, thank you so much for popping in and hanging out with me this morning. Best of luck in your tenure, your first term. And you have a supporter in me, but I probably shouldn't say that out loud. We'll see if the endorsement works. Right. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll take it.
Al Womack, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
10:24 on this 20th day of April. We'll take a quick break, come back with Tara Lee Griffin as we talk the history of 420 after this.